Although there are still months until the NHL trade deadline on March 7th, 2025, it's never too early to start analyzing what the Toronto Maple Leafs need to do to keep their Stanley Cup ambitions alive. The team, which already has big stars like Auston Matthews and John Tavares, is clearly ready to contend for the title, and changes to the roster are becoming an increasingly real possibility in the near future. Last season was a reminder that the Leafs need to be more aggressive in the market, and we can't forget how close the team came to missing the trade deadline. This year, however, things need to be different. The team has a competitive roster, but we know that the recipe for success in Toronto goes beyond the big stars. There needs to be a balanced team capable of reacting quickly to any challenge, especially during the critical stages of the season. One of the team's biggest weaknesses is depth at center. After Matthews and Tavares, the Leafs lack truly reliable options. David Kampf, for example, is on the fourth line, but is among the highest paid players in the league, which raises a red flag. So, what should they do? The truth is, to compete with the best teams in the league, the Leafs need to find someone capable of playing alongside their stars and filling the gap if either of the two top centers gets injured or needs rest. There are rumors about a potential trade for Nazem Kadri, a former Leafs player. While he was an important piece for the team in the past, his financial impact on the salary cap is a major obstacle, as well as his age of 34. He's a familiar name, but is he the best option for the Leafs' future? Another possibility is Brock Nelson from the New York Islanders. While Nelson is a solid offensive player, he doesn't stand out defensively, which is something the Leafs need in their search for balance. What's your take on these options? Do you think Kadri or Nelson would be good additions? Or should the Leafs be looking elsewhere? Leave your comment. Beyond the center issue, the Toronto team also needs to focus on its defense. Injuries, which have been a constant recently, have tested the roster's depth more severely than expected. While the goaltenders have shown being one of the main reasons for the team's good performance, injuries remain a constant threat. Depth, especially in defense, is one of the keys to success during the playoffs. Therefore, it's essential for the Leafs to find an experienced defenseman who can play in the top four and help stabilize the team. This would allow Oliver Ekman-Larsson to have more room to grow in the third pair, which could be beneficial for both him and the team as a whole. But what's missing for the Leafs to truly be unbeatable? While it's possible to rely on internal players to fill some gaps, the reality is that they still lack the necessary experience to face the major challenges of the finals. The team needs an impact player, someone who truly makes a difference, someone who has the weight of a star. When we look at the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's impossible not to realize that we are on the brink of a window of opportunity that, if seized correctly, could finally lead to the long-awaited Stanley Cup. The team has stars like Matthews and Tavares, who are already at their peak, and clearly, the team is ready to fight for the title. However, the depth of the roster is a legitimate concern. The lack of reliable center options, for example, is a factor that needs to be fixed quickly, as relying too much on just two players for that position can be risky, especially during a long season full of ups and downs. We can't forget about the defense either. The injuries have tested the team's resilience, and it's clear that to reach the top, it takes more than just good offensive names. There needs to be a solid, experienced defense capable of giving stability to the team, especially during the decisive phases of the playoffs. And if the team really wants to be a champion, Brad Treliving will need to do more than just look for mediocre options or take chances on players already in the decline. The Leafs need a real reinforcement, someone who comes in to make a decisive impact, not just to fill gaps. With so many needs on the roster, General Manager Brad Treliving faces a complex task. His mission is to find ways to strengthen the team without harming the Leafs' financial future. Negotiating players who add to the roster without compromising the salary cap will be crucial to the success of this mission. Will Treliving have the courage to do whatever it takes to ensure the Leafs have an even stronger roster? And with the trade window approaching, what do you think he should prioritize? Leave your opinion below. We're eager to know what you think. At the end of the day, the 2025 trade deadline will be a pivotal moment for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If the team truly wants to fight for the Stanley Cup, it's clear that changes need to happen. But how far do you think the Leafs should go? What kind of player would you like to see come into the team? Comment below.